What time is it? It's Packard Folks at time. Hat? Check. Shirt? Check. Pants? Optional. Mug? Double check. Check us out at cafepress.com/PackardPokesat where you can get all this great merchandise and more.
Do you like Packard Pokesat and want to hear it on demand and on the go? Download the free app today at Stitcher.com. Available on iOS, Android, Nook, and iPad.
This is Packard Pokesat, and I'm poking at your news.
Hello, everybody. This is Packard Pokesat, the Midweek Show. This is Season 5, Episode 10. Fires, floods, multiple storms, tigers. Who's playing Jumanji? I mean, just really, who's out there playing Jumanji right now? Put the game away. This is such weird weather we've got going on here. Connie, do you have some stories for us tonight?
I have at least one.
All right.
We all know that Florida had a hurricane. And anyway, Florida Pizza Hut takes heat for threatening workers who were possibly be fleeing from Irma, the hurricane.
What?
Yeah. I love the little side note underneath the headline. It was a Twitter response. Pizza Hut, you guys are closed on Christmas, but sending delivery drivers to their deaths for a hurricane.
Wow.
It's one manager of a franchise chain down in Florida who entirely way more power than any one person should have sent a memo. It was Jacksonville, Florida, by the way. This began circulating on Sunday. The notice tells workers that they have a responsibility and commitment, quote, to the community, and that those who plan to evacuate would only get a 24-hour grace period before the storm. In the event of an evacuation, you must return within 72 hours, the memo said in bold type.
Wait a minute. If there's an evacuation, you have to return within 72 hours. What happens if the roads get washed out or blocked or something? You can't get back in time. Oh, you lose your job because you weren't back within the 72 hours.
Might I suggest that this is not a job that you would want to return to?
Yeah.
A bad hire is a bad thing for a company.
Please tell me that somebody in corporate said, no, and you're out of there.
Yeah. That's Pizza Hut responded to the management's note in a statement. We absolutely do not have a policy that dictates when team members can leave or return from a disaster. And the manager who posted the letter did not follow company guidelines. We will also confirm that the local franchise operator has addressed the situation with the manager involved. And not just returning, but even evacuating. Only having one day to evacuate for an emergency, it would be very risky because traffic is going to probably be backed up and gasoline can be scarce.
Mm-hmm.
What if you've got, kids and pets and all these other things? No. So, I'm kind of assuming that what has happened is that this manager has probably been told that he needs to evacuate. I'm hoping.
Yeah, I'm hoping that he was told to evacuate the building and never to return.
Yeah. The franchise owners evidently addressed it, and Pizza Hut did too. So that was all good. So Napoleon has left the building. I'm hoping.
I hope they didn't just address the manager. I hope he took him by the cuff and the pants and went, heave-ho!
Address. I think that it's a euphemism for we kicked his ass out.
I certainly hope so.
Me too.
I certainly hope so.
What they should have done was made the manager stay at the restaurant during the hurricane.
He probably would do it. He'd probably do it. Say, okay, I'll have a pizza ready for you in an hour. There's a hurricane and everything, and I have no workers here, so I have to make the pizza, cook it, and then deliver it to you. Wow.
Well, part of me thinks that the manager in his head, he's thinking, this is dedication. I'm showing dedication to not just the company, but the store and to my employer. And I'm going to get commended for this.
There's dedication. Then there's being an asshole.
Oh, this guy is being a complete idiot.
Yeah. I hate to say it. It's like me dealing with some of these Christians. They hold on to these beliefs like it's their last straw. God damn. That's beyond the pale of stupidity.
Yeah, I mean, when you got a disaster coming, especially a hurricane, and the strength of the hurricane. Come on, I mean, they're evacuating everybody. Come on, they evacuated like what, 5.5 million people?
Yeah,
I mean,
they
use your head.
I don't think he was able to use his head because it was so far up his ass.
Yeah.
You open it and it's filled with pepperoni.
But from what I heard in the news, I guess this guy was a real jerk anyways.
It was filled with crazy bread is what it was. No, that's Little Caesars.
Yeah, it's Little Caesars.
Sorry, Little Caesars.
Hey, their crazy bread's good. I like it.
Yep. Good $5 pizza. On Fridays when I'd have to come back for Packard Pokes at Friday's show, and my kids had been at the library all afternoon, I would get Little Caesars, the $5 pizzas, and come home.
Oh, there you go.
Yep.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Full disclosure. A number of years ago, like I don't know, almost 20 years ago, I worked at Little Caesars. 20 years ago.
Well, hey, I worked at Burger King 25 years ago, so.
The stories you must have.
Oh yeah. But you see, I worked at one in Chicago, so it was a heck of a lot different.
Oh yeah.
That's back in the day.
I've got to hear your Whopper stories now.
Well, where the store was located, it was in the biggest police district in Chicago.
And the cops were in there regularly, right?
Oh yeah, because they got free food all the time.
Oh.
They would come through the drive-through or in. I mean, it was like cop heaven over there.
Oh my gosh! All right, I'm going to become a police officer just so I can get free burgers at Burger King, and then I will never be able to get out of the patrol car.
Oh yeah, believe me, there were some. They had a few too many Whoppers.
Jabba the Hutt driving.
Pretty much. Yeah, it's. I remember when I worked downtown, there was this police officer. He was huge. He would walk the beat in downtown Chicago. And I mean, this guy must have been about 500 plus pounds. He was just this big roly-poly officer and walk down the street all the time. I was just waiting for him to drop dead of a heart attack.
He didn't have to run and chase down anybody. He just had to lay down and roll at them.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, this guy was humongous.
I am sorry for our people out there who are listening who are a little larger.
I'm torn between the image of him rolling down the street or being like, he walked in through the town and he's like Godzilla smashing buildings.
Well, that's how he walked. I mean, he was just so big that I can't believe that they would, the police department would actually have somebody that large.
For anybody out there who's listening, it's fond of Weird Al like I am, it's from the Fat album. I'm fat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
I'm too much man for you to take. The pavement cracks when I fall down.
Yes.
Ham
on. Anyway, Matt, you have a story for us, and I hope it's a nice one today.
Well.
Oh no.
That depends. I mean,
every time when you come on, I get depressed.
Well, it's a religious story.
Okay.
A good religious story, but the Australian Catholic Church falls short on safeguards for children.
You don't say.
Oh yeah. Melbourne, Australia. A study that examines child sexual abuse worldwide in the Roman Catholic Church has found that the Australian Church has done less to safeguard children in its care than its counterparts in similar countries have.
That means they instead of keeping the children behind glass away from the pedophiles, they actually let them touch them. Yeah.
Apparently so. Anyways, the report released on Wednesday by the Center for Global Research at the Royal Melbourne Institute of Technology also found that the church's requirement that priests be celibate was a major risk factor for abuse, and said that the possibility of abuse in Catholic residential institutions like orphanages should be getting more attention, especially in developing countries.
Okay, now that's very telling right there. And we've discussed on the show here multiple times on why we theorize why they decided to say, hey, the priests have to be celibate because one of their popes got murdered for diddling somebody else's wife.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm thinking that maybe, just maybe, because of this whole celibate thing, and I may have actually said that a while back, but they're kind of confirming what I was saying to that regard, that people being celibate, I mean, these priests being celibate is harming them. I mean, it's harming not only their own personal psyche, but they're taking it out on these children.
Right.
They have no natural sexual release. I mean, they're told by their above people and the people around them, don't touch yourself, don't have any sexual release at all, don't watch porn, don't have relations with a female. So where do you go? You go to the closest thing to you, that's closest thing that looks like a female, but it's not a female, and that's a little boy or maybe a little girl.
Yeah, it's sad.
Well, isn't that the screwed up part of this? Is like, if you think that sex is only about men and women, then even if the object of your affliction is male and it's underage, that's okay because that's not actual sex.
Right.
Is that, I don't know, is that where this goes?
No, I think that's where it goes. I mean, they're told that sex is bad and it's only supposed to be between a man and a woman and they have to be married. But since they're not allowed to get married, and the nuns aren't allowed to get married either because they're married to God, then the sexual abuses happen.
And children are already hampered by the fact that we don't necessarily view them as, I don't know, whole people, or they have they're easily manipulated and hurt. And
yeah.
Well, I think they're viewed as objects, more or less.
Yeah, exactly. They're treated as little objects to do with it what you want. That's a child. It has no rights. It has no rights.
Even as parents, and if you look at abortion, it's objectifying the whole thing. It's about ownership, and yeah.
Did you have more on that, Matt? I'm looking at the story here, and I am just outraged myself.
Yeah, I have more on this. But it says the experts are going to put pressure on Pope Francis, and particularly the church in Australia, to do more to prevent abuse. The Australian church was rocked in June when Cardinal George Pell, an Australian who was one of the Pope's top advisors, became the highest-ranking Roman Catholic prelate to be formally charged with sexual offenses.
Yeah, I remember hearing about that guy. He said he tried to get out of the charges by saying, "Oh, I'm too sick. I can't travel, so I have to be somewhere else. I can't come out to Australia or the Pope or wherever he was at the time, to someplace else to face charges on this." He thought that maybe they would say, "Oh, well, you're sick and it happened so long ago. If you wait it out, you might get away with it." He played that card completely wrong, and he ended up getting charged with that, I believe.
As he should have,
Yes, absolutely.
Because it says here that the Catholic Church is in a state of crisis, and pressure has been put on the Holy See to take the necessary steps to change.
That one sentence there, the Holy See. What the f is the Holy See?
SEE, not SEA, SEE.
Yeah, exactly. The SEE. It's the Holy See. SEE.
Yeah, I have no idea what that means.
Is it magic binoculars? The Holy See? You stick them over your eyes and you get the little rings around you? Those the Holy See?
I guess. I've never heard that term either.
That's bizarre. Maybe someone who's Catholic or knows something about Catholicism a little bit more than I do can.
Well, I could probably ask my cousin who's the Catholic priest.
Sure. I was thinking more along the lines someone that might be in the chat room now.
No.
Or leave the comment below, tell us what a Holy See is. And I mean, no, it's not something you put your boat on. The fact is that they had nearly 400 pages in trace reports of traces of history of child sexual abuse in the global church, and tries to identify factors that contributed to it with a particular focus on Australia. Damn, 400 pages. That's a lot.
The term Holy See comes from the Latin sancta sedes, meaning holy chair, and originates from the enthronement ceremony of the Bishop of Rome, the Pope. Strictly speaking, the cathedra, i.e. the chair of the throne, represents the position and the authority of the Holy Father or a bishop, and the place where he resides in the territory of his jurisdiction. Holy See refers to the seat of government of the Universal Church.
So they think if they sit in this magic chair, they get a magic vision from their magic sky wizard.
Yep.
It sounds like Archie Bunker.
Hey. You're in my chair?
Yeah, this is just sad. I mean, it's happening all over. It's not just here in America. It's, in Australia and, what other countries.
Yeah.
This is just...
I'm glad that these things are starting to come to the light. I saw this thing online. I'm not sure where I saw it, but it said the kind of sexual crimes that are going on, especially with children, were going on in any atheist community that was out there, it would be forced to disband immediately.
Oh, yeah.
But religion,
we'd be raked over the coals.
Absolutely, we'd be raked over the coals. But religion always gets a pass.
Right.
Religion always gets a pass. Why? Why does religion get a pass on that? That's just bizarre.
I don't know.
Well, I didn't link the story, but I saw another couple stories on I think it was the Raw story. There's a pastor who was very anti-gay in Africa somewhere, and he was just arrested because he had pictures of kids from his own like parish on his computer that he had actually solicited from
Oh,
people
Jesus.
in the area. This kind of thing, again, I don't have to blame religion except for perhaps ignorance and a stunning level of naivete. But the fact is that a lot of times pedophiles seek out positions of authority, whether you're talking about teachers in school or you're talking about pastors in churches and stuff, so that they are able to access the thing that they're obsessing about. Pedophilia itself, I think, should, if it's not already, that should be the mental illness. And but then again, I think mental illness is something that we refuse to fully understand. So
Yeah. No, I completely agree. I mean, I think it is already classified as that. I could be wrong, but I think it already is classified as a mental disorder.
yeah, and I won't.
Well, yeah, it is. I mean, because I think a lot of these people who have these obsessions or these, this mental illness, they're jumping into the church so they can be, free from it.
Give your testimony on a Saturday or a Sunday night. How Jesus saved you from this, saved you from this or that or the other thing, and people don't examine it any further than that. They revel in the glory stories. And again, I'm talking about evangelical, that branch anyway, but about people's old sinful lives. They love a good conversion story. And that in itself is pretty sick, I think. But
Yeah.
While we are poking at your news, you can poke us at Facebook and Twitter, or poke us with an email at ppapodcast@gmail.com, or leave us a message at 662-709-PPAP. Join us live on YouTube/Packard Pokesat on Friday nights at 9 p.m. Central Time. Be part of the conversation by live chatting with us during the show. Enjoy the show? Help support us by becoming a monthly patron at patreon.com/Packard Pokesat. Or look awesome by buying something at cafepress.com/Packard Pokesat. No money, no problem. You can help us by sharing the show with friends and rate us on iTunes and Stitcher. For everyone that shares and rates us, you kick ass.
The Atheists,
The Bible.
and No Wardrobe, the podcast.
Wait a minute. No wardrobe? You mean we're going to be naked while we do this?
Well, seeing how I'm an atheist and I'm reading the Bible, and since clothes are flammable,
Fire! Fire! Fire!
I thought it might be a good idea to take them all off first.
Naked or not, follow along as we read, analyze, and try to keep you from falling asleep as we go through this boring-ass book.
Find us on iTunes, Stitcher, and Spreaker. Who knows? We may even be on YouTube someday.
Speaking of sick, I've got a story.
yeah, you have stories, Packard. Yay.
I have a story. I have a story here. Now, I don't drive a fancy car. My car is very unfancy. Some people think it's a little fancier. I do get a lot of looks because I drive this little tiny car. I mean, it's small enough I could almost put it in my pocket and just carry it around with me. So it tends to get people's looks, But you know what? The people who get the double takes, the real double takes, and the big awes, the people who drive like really expensive cars like Porsches and whatnot, right? Well, in Nashville, Tennessee, a Nashville woman is accused of shooting a homeless man who asked her to move her Porsche SUV. Kathy Quackenbush, my gosh, Quackenbush. Okay, make up your own jokes there. Is charged with attempted murder, according to Tennessee, and according to Metro National Police. Quackenbush critically wounded 54-year-old Gerald Melton on August 26th. He remains in the hospital. Police say Melton was trying to sleep on a sidewalk around 3 a.m. when the exhaust fumes and loud music from Quackenbush's SUV disturbed him. When he asked the young woman to move the vehicle, an argument ensued, and Quackenbush got out of the SUV with a weapon. Police say she shot the man twice and then fled the scene. There was that case of that kid who shot a couple people. No, he ran somebody over with his car. And he got off because they said he had influenza, because he had so much money and things like that. He didn't know the difference between right and wrong. This woman...
Yes. trying to think of what you were talking about, but yes, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. Yeah, the guy had the guy had influenza, or not influenza like the flu, influenza, whatever it is. It's something like that. And I'm willing to bet you this woman, because she's probably privileged, and she's going to say, "Oh, well, I didn't know any better because he's just a bum. He was just some homeless man, and I'm a very important person." Now, according to her father, she apparently had a different account of what happened. He told the Tennessean that his daughter and her friend were being accosted by Melton, claiming that the man made explicit and sexist remarks towards the two. He also claimed that Melton threatened to kill the women. According to the father, Quackenbush grabbed her gun out of the SUV and to escort her friend to the vehicle. Melton allegedly began walking towards the women. Jesse said his daughter told him that she had the gun and fired 2 warning shots. He claimed that she had no idea Melton had been hit by the gunfire. So she had been hit with a bond of $25,000, and she's scheduled to appear in court on October 6th. Who wants to take bets this woman is going to get off? Who wants to take bets that this woman is going to get off from taking this? Because this guy, he has nothing. He has literally nothing, and she's got, access to money and lawyers and whatnot, and they're going to make him out to be the bad guy. And she's going to have the friend come up and probably lie too. Who knows? This kind of stuff bothers me when people who have a lot of money and stuff like that, they get to set the rules. It's the one who with the money that rules and wins the lawsuits because they have the better lawyers. And even if they're not telling the truth, it doesn't matter.
The thing is that I have seen other stories where she has prior charges against her or complaints.
Really?
Yeah, but again, I didn't fully source this story, so I would have to look that up.
Okay.
The thing is okay, just the fact that she closed her eyes when she's shooting the gun, no. She should be not able to carry a firearm, because when you're pointing at somebody, you're supposed to be looking. And if you brandish a gun, there's only one reason for a bullet to exist, people, and it's to destroy whatever is in its path. And guess what? Closing your eyes when you're shooting is not an option. This is an idiot. This young woman is just an absolute idiot. I don't want a handgun. I've never wanted to own a handgun. They scare me, and I don't want anything to do with them. No, she's doing firearms. No help by this story, and I feel really bad for the guy who has nothing. And like you're saying, Packard, she has deep pockets, or daddy or whoever has deep pockets, and she's not going to have to pay for anything.
Mm-hmm.
It's frustrating. It's just it's so unfair. This is so unfair.
Rich get away with a lot of things.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I didn't see that part in the story where the part that I have. You have probably a different link to it. I want to say.
Story? Closing your eyes, or
about the closing your eyes. That's actually the part I want to talk about. There are some people, what they will do is, because they've never fired their gun, and people like that, they got it. It's like, oh, you just showed, you don't even have to shoot it, honey. Just point it at them, and that'll just scare the shit out of them, and then they'll run away. Most times, that's what they're told. So when they actually have to fire, they don't understand the actions it's going to take, and it's going to be extremely loud, and they're like, ah. And they're closing their eyes while they're doing it, because they just don't want to take. They're mentally disconnecting themselves from the activity that they're doing, which is firing a gun at another human being. So this way they think, well, I just fired. I didn't close because I closed my eyes. I'm not responsible. What?
Nobody should be able to own a gun for a lot of reasons. There should be more conditions, and this goes back to something that I don't talk a lot about, but before you can own a firearm, you should have to take classes in how, in the entire operation, like with a car. You should have to understand how it operates, how it loads, and what happens to a target when you hit it. And they should be able to show proficiency. I think that it should be something that you have to register, and then you have to re-register, like our vehicles. I mean, I'm sorry. When I drive down the road, I'm not looking to hit people with it. But when you have a gun, that's exactly what you're doing. And so I think registration for guns should be dependent upon the mental and the physical ability of the person to operate it. And that's just the beginning, because it doesn't mean that somebody can still lie about everything else. But I'm just like, no, this should be the standard that we set this by. I think that owning firearms is something that we do allow people to do, and so do other countries. But you know what? You should be able to show that you know what you're doing, and not just like, here's your 16th birthday. I'm worried you're going to get raped. Here's a gun, daughter. And just if somebody threatens you, just shoot a couple warning shots off. What kind of parent is that? That's just stupid.
No, exactly.
I got a bit passionate there. I apologize.
No, it's fine. I
agree with what she's saying. I mean, she hit it right in the head.
I agree with your saying there, Connie. I totally agree with what you're saying there.
Oh, thank you. Sorry.
Yeah, no, it's. They should be taught. It should be licensed. Like you drive a car, you have to have a license to drive a car. You should have a license to own a weapon.
Yep.
All right. Well, I want to thank everybody for coming to the show, and we'll be back again on Friday at our regular time at 9 p.m. Central Time. So no repeats. No repeats. And I deeply apologize for not being available Friday night. Because I did have a wake to go to the following day, so I really didn't have time to do any editing or anything like that. So that's why we didn't have a show on Friday. But with that said, we are back to our regular scheduling. So you'll see us again on Friday and Wednesday and so on and so forth. If you would like to make a donation to the show, go to patreon.com/PackardPokeset, and you can make a donation as little as $1 every episode, because that's the thing now. We're doing this. You're getting charged per episode, not per month like it was before. It's per episode. So if you would like to make a donation, let's say you're making donation for $100 a month, once a month, and instead of getting charged $100 every episode, you can always change it to something that would equal the $100 but at a lower rate. So it's like it'd be like $10 a month or $10 every episode, and that would make the $100 out of it. Obviously that's not the right math, because I'm not doing a math, but I'm doing a math poorly is what I'm doing. But I'm just giving you an example. You can lower your rate so you don't have to take your donation away. But if you'd like to make a direct donation to the show, you can go to paypal.me/PackardPokeset, and then you can make a donation directly to me, and then I get the monies directly, so I can keep a roof over my head and the electricity flowing, which is something that I need to do too. So I appreciate everybody that's out there that helps the show and keeps me in my house every month. So that helps me in ways you can't even imagine. We'll see you on Friday. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
And that's a wrap.